Hello, I'm Laura Stevens and I work within DEFRA's Plant Health Risk and Horizon Scanning team. And in the team we assess the risk posed to the UK by new and emerging pests using the Plant Health Risk Register. And we also develop advice for dealing with interceptions and outbreaks of such pests. I'm going to tell you about a few topical pests today that will hopefully be of interest to the ornamental industry. So first up is a bit of a surprising choice. So this is Colorado beetle or Leptinotassa deciminiata. So it may seem like an odd choice to begin with a pest of potato. However, this pest isn't established in the UK, and we do occasionally get interceptions as it comes in as a hitchhiker, mainly on leafy veg such as salads and herbs. But this year, in summer, an adult Colorado beetle was found in a private garden in Leicestershire on a hebe plant. So there was no indication that the beetle was causing any damage to the plant, and it is highly likely that it was imported on some fresh produce and just managed to escape into the garden, as there was no potato or tomato production in the area. However, this seems like a really good opportunity to remind people of Colorado beetle and ask everyone if they can have a look for it. So on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see a poster, and this one was commissioned in 1936 by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. And even 85 years later, the message still remains unchanged. We're asking people to just be aware of Colorado beetle. So this next slide shows a selection of insects which surprisingly are sometimes mistaken for Colorado beetle. So Cattleya is Colorado beetle, whilst the rest of them are either native or introduced species in the UK. If you would like more details about these insects and also Colorado beetle, DEFRA have produced a fact sheet on the beetle, and the address is shown at the bottom of the screen. So if we move on to some pests of ornamental plants, we'll begin with Conjurinea jongi. So this is a gall midge of Alstroemeria, and it's thought to be native to South America, where Alstroemeria is from. However, it was first detected in a production glasshouse in Australia and then in the Netherlands in 2016, and it's thought that this pest has been spread by trade. So larvae feed within the flower buds. The adults lay their eggs inside the flower buds, and the larvae develop and cause deformed flowers and also flower abortion. And it is quite a damaging pest in the Alstroemeria industry, as it does affect the flowers, which is what this crop is grown for, and it means that you cannot harvest your flowers for sale. So if we move on to another Conjurinea, this one is Conjurinea maculipennis, or blossom midge. So this has a slightly wider host range, and it feeds on the flower buds of orchid, frangipani, hibiscus and jasmine, as well as a selection of other vegetable and fruit crops, including bitter melon. However, the main crop is regarded as Dendrobium species, and it's thought that this pest has spread through trade in the Dendrobium cut flower industry. So this one is native to Southeast Asia, and it's now present in Japan, Thailand and the USA, in Hawaii and Florida, and it is having an impact on orchid production in those countries. There have been historical outbreaks in the Netherlands, which have since been eradicated, and there have been UK interceptions of this pest as well. So it's thought the main pathway is infested plant material for propagation. However, it's highly unlikely that the pest would survive outdoors in the UK, but it could become a problem were it to establish in glass houses. So at the bottom of the slide, there's some images of the damage that the pest can do. So the first image is of frangipani buds, and the next two are of Dendrobium buds, and it shows you the sort of distorted flowers and the necrosis that can happen if pests do get into these flower buds. So moving on to another pest, so sticking with orchids, but moving on to weevils. So Orchidophilus species weevils is a genus containing 6 species of orchid weevils. So all of them are thought to feed on orchid host material, but just 2 of them are known to have established outside of their native regions and have become pests of orchid production. So hosts include many orchid species. However, Dendrobium, Phalaenopsis and Vanda are quite common ones, which are affected by Orchidophilus weevils. So these weevils are native to Southeast Asia. However, these have also been introduced around the world in the orchid trade, and in Japan and Hawaii, they are causing quite a significant impact to orchid production there. So in 2016, there was an interception on dendrobium plants from Singapore. This interception was destroyed, but it is something for orchid growers to be aware of, because if it were to establish in an orchid glasshouse, it could be quite damaging to the crop. So the bottom of the slide shows some images. You have your weevil, your adult weevil on the left, eggs in the middle, and your larva to the right of the screen. So adult weevils lay eggs inside the plants, so in pseudobulbs, and the larva begins to develop and sort of create quite a lot of damage in there. They produce frass and eat the larva, eat through the pseudobulbs, damaging your plants. So I'm going to move on now to tell you about some tree pests and diseases, which may be of interest to you. So first up is a relatively new emerging beech leaf disease. So this is Petrachia lyobe. So this is a fungal pathogen of beech. It's also been recorded on hornbeam. It was first discovered in Switzerland in 2008, and subsequently it's been found in 4 other European countries. So it's been found in Austria, Germany, Slovakia, and Slovenia. So initially it was thought to be Petrachia fagi, which is also present in Japan. However, some work done on it, some sequencing and further molecular work, has shown that this is actually an entirely new species, so Petrachia lyobe, and it is thought to be just present in Europe at the moment. So at the top of the screen, there are some images of what this pathogen does. So the first, you begin with small necrotic lesions on your beech leaves, and these can coalesce to cover quite a large area of the leaf. And then further on in infection, you can see some fungal comminudial masses, which you can see there. So symptoms are thought to be more severe on lower branches of beech. So branches at about 1.5 meters to 2 meters in height. And work done in Europe sort of suggests that this may not cause mortality in older trees, and it may just give symptoms of lack of vigor and also aesthetic. It reduces the aesthetic quality of beech trees. So the main pathway which this could enter the UK is on imported nursery trees and hedging from Europe. So this is one to watch out for. So if we move on to a pest this time of trees, so this is Ceperda candida, which is the round-headed apple tree borer. So this one is native to the USA and Canada. However, there has been one outbreak of it in Europe. So in 2008, it was detected on Fairmount Island in Germany. So this is an island in the Baltic Sea, and it was found to be infested in quite a few trees on the island. So as its name suggests, it's the round-headed apple tree borer. Its preferred host is Malus, but it does also attack a number of other wild and ornamental trees, some of which are really important to the UK. So damage by this beetle is mainly caused by the larvae. The adults do feed on leaves, but it is the larvae which are most damaging, as they can attack healthy and weakened trees, and they bore galleries inside the trunk of the tree, usually at the base of the tree, and the feeding activity damages the inside of the trees and may girdle stems, which can eventually, in severe infestations, lead to dieback and eventual mortality of the tree. So the outbreak in Germany, it's not really known how it got there. However, it's found to be affecting Sorbus intermedia trees, Malus and Crataegus trees, and since its detection, there has been a huge effort to eradicate it. And from 2008 to 2020, a total of 126 trees have been destroyed, and eradication efforts are still ongoing. So it's thought that if this could establish in the UK, because it is native to the USA and Canada, and it's managed to establish itself in Germany. So it's thought that it wouldn't have a problem coming to the UK and establishing and causing a problem for fruit trees and ornamental plantations. So we move on to another pest from North America. So this is Corythuca ciliata, which is the plain lacebug. So this is native to North America. However, it was introduced to Italy in the 1960s. And since then it's spread throughout most of Europe, so through southern Europe and central, and also to northern Europe, where it's present in Belgium, France and Germany and the Netherlands as well. So not only that, it's been introduced to other continents, it's gone to Australia, South America and Asia. So this pest is really small. The adults are 4 millimetres long, but it is quite a distinctive pest. And I should say there was an outbreak in the UK in 2006 on London Plain and also Oriental Plain. So it was found on nursery stock in a nursery in Bedfordshire, and it had also spread to mature trees around the site. So the trees were treated, and it was thought because the pest had been there for quite a few years and the trees are quite large, it's thought that it may establish. However, surveys done after treatment of the trees have not detected the pest again. So we do consider its absence from the UK because it is so distinctive. It's thought that if it was present, it would have been detected by surveys and also by professional and amateur naturalists, but there's been no indication of that since 2006. So the larvae and adults feed on the underside of leaves, and in the image above on the right hand side you can see that the effects can mainly be seen on the veins of the leaves. So it begins with white sort of feeding damage, and this can progress to bronzing of the leaves. So mainly this is thought to be just aesthetic damage. However, in Europe, in more dry conditions and also where trees have additional stressors, heavy infestations can be more damaging and can in some cases lead to host death. So moving on to our final pest, this is Acleus taiwanensis, or the black fig weevil. So this is an emerging pest of ficus, and it was brought to our attention by a recent paper published this year. So this is spreading in Europe, although it is native to Asia. It has been introduced to France it was detected in 1997, and it was detected in Italy in 2005, and it's thought to be a threat to fig nurseries and orchards on the continent. So the map on the right-hand side shows you its presence in Europe, and it has spread throughout, well, to about 7 different regions in Italy. So figs aren't commercially grown in the UK for fruit production, but they are a really popular ornamental plant, and increasingly they were being grown by gardeners outside for fruit production. So this is one to watch out for. So adults just cause minor damage to the fruit, leaves and buds, but it is the larvae which are the most damaging. So there has been one finding in the UK since the publication of this paper, and statutory action has been taken. And at the bottom of the screen there is an image that you can see the larvae found in this finding, which was found in a Ficus corica tree. And it is quite a large larvae, and they can do quite a lot of damage in smaller trees, eventually leading to host death because they do feed within the tree and stop water transport. So I should say that this species is not on the risk register yet because it is sort of a new emerging pest, but we will assess it to see what the requirements are for the UK. So, thank you very much for listening. I should say, if you suspect the presence of any of these quarantine pests or any other quarantine pests, please do inform the relevant authority. I will leave you with their relevant contact details. So thank you very much for your attention.